I want to welcome you back to our study in Philippians. We've been talking about my favorite subject, which is Jesus. Jesus and the Apostle Paul does such a wonderful job of describing who Jesus was. He said that he existed in the form of God. That was past tense. And then not regarding equality with God a thing to be grasped, but emptied himself, taking on the form of a bondservant, being made in the likeness of men. That's where we ended yesterday's podcast. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. Now we start today with verse number 8. Being found in appearance as a man. What's that saying? Being found in appearance as a man. In other words, he looked like a man. You know, I appreciate Michelangelo and all these guys that painted Jesus. But you know what, when they paint him and he looks like some kind of fairy type thing, you know, they paint him without any reality to it. You know what? Jesus was 100% man. He was found in the appearance of man. He looked like a man. He had hair, he had eyes, he had nose, he had a mouth, he had legs, he had everything that a man has. And so the Apostle Paul says, having been found in the likeness of man. The word appearance is the Greek word schema, and it means an external fashion. We talked about his internal attitudes, his soul, and what he had, his attitudes. Now the Apostle Paul just makes mention of what he looked like externally. Jesus took on the form, the outward form of a man. But now notice what the Apostle Paul says next. He says, and he humbled himself, becoming obedient to the point of death, even the death of the cross. What did Jesus do? He humbled himself. The death of on the cross was one of the most humiliating things that a person could ever experience. Jesus didn't hang on the cross with a loincloth covering him. No, he hung on the cross completely naked. He didn't hang on the cross as God. He hung on the cross as a man. He didn't hang on the cross as being righteous. He hung on the cross being and taking our sin. How many of you know that is true humility? And so it says that he humbled himself. Now notice, it didn't say, and he was humbled. It says he humbled himself. And then what does it say? It says, by becoming obedient to the point of death. Let me just say this. Humility comes from obedience. You say, if God asks you to do something and you think, no, I don't think that's a good idea. You know what? The problem that you have is not disobedience. The problem that you have is a lack of humility. A lack of saying, you know what, God, you know best. You know, in 1991, my family and I moved to the Soviet Union. A lot of people told us we were stupid in doing it. Some people said, you'll never make of yourself anything now. But you know what? Because it was an act of obedience, we could walk saying, you know what? I don't care if it makes anything of me. I don't care if it causes me glory. I don't care what the results are going to be, because I am going to obey the Lord. Now, going back to Jesus, he says, even death on the cross. Even death on the cross. Very violent death. Very painful death. death of the cross was one of the most painful things that could be experienced by a human being at that time. The Roman soldiers were experts in causing pain. They knew exactly where to place the nails. They knew exactly where to place the nails in the feet. They did this to cause pain for the prisoner. Jesus became obedient even to the death of the cross. He said, Father, whatever you will, it'll be done. You know what that is? That's humility. That's also obedience, which is produced by humility. And then we go on, verse number 9. For this reason also, God highly exalted him. Let me just say this. One of the things that we need to realize is that our obedience to God doesn't negate God's will. Our obedience to God always causes God to exalt us. Do you understand that? You see, because Jesus was obedient to God, God highly exalted him. God lifted him up. You see, putting yourself down like Jesus did actually means to be raised up by the Father. So it says, for this reason. Why? What reason? Because he humbled himself to the point of death on the cross. God then turned right around and he highly exalted him. And then he bestowed on him the name which is above every name. How many of you know that all of heaven and earth bowed down at the name of Jesus? Verse number 10, so that at the name of Jesus every knee will bow, of those in heaven and on earth and under the earth. And it means that they will bow in submission at the name of Jesus. If you're being hassled by demonic powers, speak the name of Jesus. If other things are going on, speak the name of Jesus. There's power in that name. And then verse number 11, and that every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord to the glory of the Father. There's coming a day where every tongue, both of people that have died and gone on, and of people that are here on earth, there's coming a day where everybody is going to make this statement, Jesus Christ is Lord. Some will submit to him and then spend an eternity in hell, because that's the sentence they chose. Some will submit to him and are submitting to him right now. The thing of it is, it's going to be to the glory of the Father. You see, when Jesus takes his throne, when Jesus takes his throne at the end of time, you know what's going to happen? God is going to be glorified. People are going to see justice. People are going to see righteousness. They're going to see the whole picture of what God did. And God will be glorified. Thank you for watching. Join us again tomorrow as we continue our study in Philippians.